to the northeast, or actually just west of Gamaliel, as we talked a little bit earlier, and that storm moving northeast at about 55. So I'll draw a track on that is essentially from the apex of that hook, okay? So near where that circulation is, if we take that northeast, and again, these are moving at about 55 miles an hour. There you go. Gamaliel, you're in line for this within the next 2 to 3 minutes. So you need to be in your shelter now. You don't have time to drive somewhere. You need to hit the deck wherever you're at. If that means a hallway or an interior room, something that puts as many walls between you and the outside. Stay away from glass and outside walls. That's going to move northeast and eventually track into southern Howell County, where we've got the other 2 warnings, Ron. So it's all of a sudden, we've gone from nothing to several tornado warnings, and they all seem to be strengthening.
Yeah, I want to jump back to that other view from West Plains if we can. So I've been kind of looking at this a little bit, and you'll notice that I've taken the tornado warning off of there, and that's because I've tried to what we call query this. And so what I want to do is the really strong winds are right in there, and you'll notice that it's picking up 55 miles per hour, and this whole line in here is about 55. I did hit on one pixel that was about 63, but this really looks to me like really strong straight line winds that are pushing off to the north and to the east, and so that is going to move these really strong winds right up here towards the 14 junction, so that there are some businesses and stuff that are here on the west side of the road just south of that junction. I think the folks at the truck stop can expect some really high winds here very shortly, and then just west of there another couple of miles as you see this kind of move in. This is not a really tight couplet. The gate-to-gate shear here is not particularly strong, but again, we're looking at really strong winds with this, and you've seen this kind of jump around here a little bit. We'll kind of see what we can do, but there's looks like almost 60-mile-per-hour winds again right in here, and so that's going to change a little bit as we get new views. But this is very strong winds that are headed up to the northwest side of West Plains up towards the 14 junction. So again, folks there need to be prepared for some power outages, probably some tree damage, maybe even some shingles missing off your roof, and of course there's going to be a lot of stuff flying around in the air. So you want to make sure you close the curtains and close the shades, because we don't want anything to penetrate the windows and break the glass and get glass inside your home this afternoon. So again, it looks like the main part of West Plains, at least the downtown area, the southeast side, southeast of the Civic Center out to where Business 63 comes back into 63. Right now you guys are looking pretty good. I am concentrated around the Pottersville area up towards CC Highway. In fact, this is getting on the CC Highway area right now, and then again that's moving on up towards Highway 14, all on the northwest side of West Plains.
I can tell you that the schools there in West Plains are taking shelter right now, and I believe over at South Fork they're also doing that. So it's a scenario where we've got
Richards and Fairview are going to be in the path of that storm.
Yeah, on the north side of town there. So this is a little bit difficult to discern here because we've got multiple overlying tornado warnings, and you'll notice here we've got, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 that are different storms that some have merged, others are coming over the same area, and at the very least they could produce some hail, they could produce the high wind that Ron just talked about, and in some cases they may produce a tornado. So we've got one that's coming out of Baxter County. It's going to go right across the southeast corner essentially of Douglas County, Ozark County, very close to or just west of Bakersfield, and then up through South Fork, much like the last storm track. This is only a 30-minute loop, guys, and so these storms are all rotating at various strengths, and so a little bit difficult to tell which one has the best chance. Some of the rotation has tightened and then loosened, but let's take a look at the mountain home camera. And is this still pointing? Okay, it's down.
It's pointing off to the north now. It's pointing up towards the radio tower hill there.
Just a whole lot of rain. So what boulevard was that? I'm sorry. Plub. Okay. So heavy rain there in Mountain Home. Certainly the most dangerous part of that storm looks like it's gone just to the north of you as far as the rotation goes anyway.
Yeah, that's up on 101 right now. The rotation is hitting the Gamaliel area. So folks in and around Gamaliel need to be in your tornado shelter.
And so just look at this map here. one quick, oh, you've got okay. Norfolk Lake. 1 second here. You can see the last 30 minutes, the 2 rotations. One of them, as Ron said, near Gamaliel. That's moving northeast and has prompted that other tornado warning near or just east of Gainesville a little ways, and then into right up to the West Plains area. So you've got one circulation right on the northwest side of West Plains, moving northeast at 55. You've got a second one that's north of Mountain Home near Gamaliel. That's going to come across and move up over much of the same general area. So Paul's got a picture here. Is that sunshine coming out there at the lake?
I believe that's east of the storm that you two are talking about there in Arkansas, looking back toward the clouds that are approaching the lake there.
You can kind of see it just a little bit. Yeah, I've been on that bridge several times, but just know that the best thing you can do right now is to take shelter and keep us up. By the way, if you lose power, you can scroll down on the KY3 Weather app, and there'll be a little button there that says watch live or stream live, one of the two. Click that, and you can carry us with you to your shelter, and we'll keep you up to date as these storms progress. Ron, it seems like that rotation there west of West Plains is actually getting a little bit stronger. That or my eyes are deceiving me a little bit.
Well, it may. I want to jump back over to the other one because it looks like we have a little bit of a debris here, Brandon. That may be some debris up there on 101 just south of Bakersfield area. And what this is going to do is this is going to come into about Tom Turner's place, if you happen to know Tom. It's going to be very close to his property there. Then it's going to scoot and it's going to be very close to the south side of Bakersfield. And then that thing is going to just continue moving up in here to far southwestern Howe County. Now the rotation with this, if you kind of keep your eye on this hook right here, and then I want to put the velocity on here for you so you can actually see that. And the velocity is pretty much in the same area, so that is going to be coming right up in there as well. And so that is going to be impacting area around Bakersfield. So again, Bakersfield's still an awful lot of debris lying around on the ground down there, and all of that is going to become flying missiles as this system comes into the Bakersfield area again this afternoon. So this thing is coming right up 101. It is now just to the east of 101. And as I said, for folks down here who know Tom, that is going to be moving into his place. He already had a whole bunch of fences down and some lumber, some trees down from that last tornado, but it's following basically the same path. That's going to come up here to the south side of the Bakersfield area and then out the east side of town. And then that is not going to be too far from where Carol Evans had her house and visited her. She took shelter underneath the stairs in a closet she has there, but that is going to be very close to that area, and then that is going to take that up towards the YY highway area. So folks up here just outside of town on YY, that thing is going to be coming in your direction. So that's actually going to be about 3 miles, maybe 4 miles or so to the east of the 101 junction up in there. But again, you can see how this couplet is moving right up in that direction, and there is kind of a little bit of a valley up in there, and so it's not unusual for these things to ride in some of those valleys. So again, I need everybody in that area to be moving to your tornado shelter. They do have the FEMA shelter there in town where people took shelter last time, and hopefully you're there. You're going to have to close the doors very quickly, so you only have just a minute or two to get there before they seal that off to keep everybody safe inside. But again, you can see the couplet in that area, and again, we were picking up just a little bit of debris, and you can see the debris now is kind of coming back into the Bakersfield area. Again, we're way high up in the storm here, probably at about 10,000 feet, but that debris is being lofted. So this is a very strong thunderstorm that has been impacting sections of the Baxter County area, and again, moving right up into Bakersfield. So let's keep them in our thoughts and our prayers, because they had such devastation with that F3 tornado here just a couple of weeks ago, Brandon.
Yeah, we can see a little bit of a better view now. That camera we took earlier there, you can see how the water's kind of gotten choppy, the storm moving in, and the Weather Service down in Little Rock, who does the warnings for these counties here across the Mountain Home area and either side of that, they're saying 70-mile-per-hour winds are possible, and that the storm rotation is actually moving into an even more favorable environment to the east. So, you know, we talk a lot about the ingredients necessary for severe weather, and in particular tornadoes. We've got them today, and the risk increases even further east from the Ozarks. And so we've got a couple of spots here that we've been watching. There's that storm that Ron was talking about moving northeast, and you really should be in your shelters right now, because these storms, while not a definite confirmation, there has been at least some hint of debris on the radar. We don't know real well. It's not been real concentrated, but it could be that some debris has been lofted so high now and kind of spread out from an earlier touchdown. But we've got the hook and we've got some rotation. And so for a refresher, because I know how this works, sometimes you get into a situation where you're like, oh snap, I can't remember what to do. There are some safety rules, and you want to put as many walls as you can between you and the outside. So Paul Adler's over there with a reminder of where the best places are to take shelter. Paul?
And Brandon, this is a graphic that makes it real simple. You want to get to the interior of your home. You want to get to the green areas on this graphic over here, Brandon. Then you see here, you want to get to a closet, an interior hallway, the stairs, the bathroom if you have to. You want to stay out of these exterior wall areas. You want to get away from those. And if you are in the path of this storm, if you don't have a basement, again, get to that interior hallway, room. Stay away from windows and doors. You want to, again, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You can also grab pillows and blankets to protect yourself from flying debris. You also want to put on, if you can, if you have a bicycle helmet, a lot of us have bikes and bicycle helmets, put that on, or a motorcycle helmet to protect your head. Another thing you can do is you can grab pillows or even a mattress if you want to drag a mattress over the top of you. Stay away from anything that can catch fire, such as a fuse box or water heater. Grab your phone or tablet with the KY3 First Alert weather app, and you do want to have your storm safety kit. You want to have that with you. Some of the things you can put in that kit: survival needs, a first aid kit, medicine, food, and water for your pets, and other supplies, chargers, batteries. I want to mention this too. Ron, you did mention this, but if the power goes out, we have this streaming on the KY3 weather app, and you can get the weather app. You can stay up to date with the storms right now. You'll also get any warnings that come out as we see them.
Yeah, it's a very useful tool. There's no doubt about it. And one of the things you want to do is make sure that thing is charged up. So keep your charger handy. Not only can you look at the radar, you're going to get video updates. If the power goes out, you can stream us. And of course, if there is damage or you have a photo, you can actually upload that from the KY3 First Alert weather app. I'm back here in the Howell County storm. There's actually two kind of couplets that are going on. Right, we have one that's just to the south of the Mountain View area. This is going to be on Highway 17. It is going to be to the north of Peace Valley, maybe even a little bit north of White Church. It's not a very strong rotation, but they do have the tornado warning out for that. They have also just issued a severe thunderstorm warning to kind of cover this area. So I think what we're getting is maybe some minor rotation in this area, but I think we're getting some stronger winds. And then down here in West Plains, look at this line right in here. If there is any rotation, that is going to be probably in the Pomona area in here, and then you go north on 63 up towards the UU junction in here, and U Highway is also going to have a fair amount of wind that's going on with it as well. So very strong winds are coming into the west side of West Plains right now. And I think what's happening is that rear flanking downline, the winds are coming down the backside of the thunderstorm, have hit the ground and are now surging eastward. So I think we're going to see some pretty high winds with this line right in here coming through West Plains all the way up to Pomona, all the way up through the airport, the Coca-Cola plant up in there, and again, that is going to be here on Highway 160. Now that is going to take it up. You got BB Highway that kind of comes up from the north side of town in here. That is going to travel up through the BB Highway area there. So folks need to be prepared for some very high winds moving in that part of the West Plains area. And this is going to be kind of the north side of town. So from the Sheriff's Department, probably just north of the hospital, Skillets is up in there. It is just going to be just east of there now, over towards Galloway Park. So they're probably getting some pretty high winds up in there, and the golf courses up in here probably getting some pretty high winds, and the public golf course there too. And again, all of that is traveling off to the north and east. So Peace Valley is going to be in the path of those high winds here very shortly. It's probably going to be, you know, Peace Valley is up in here, then White Church is here, then you have Mountain View on 17. So this is all going to be surging over 17 north. So folks over there need to be prepared for some high winds moving into northeastern portions of Howell County. the good news is it looks like the rotation has weakened, and now it's becoming a very strong wind event, and that again could produce damage that's very equal to a small tornado. Brandon?
There is a bit of debris there, Brandon.
On yeah, Northwest Plains.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So this is a loop. This goes back just 30 minutes, and we're kind of focused on Howell County right now, but it appears we have 2 debris signatures. Well, the Weather Service has not confirmed that, but this is not super concentrated, so it may be showing a little bit of hail as well. But right there, north of West Plains, and it matches up right where that tornado warning is, where you see all that purplish kind of color and then the green in the middle. And then we've got another one similar down towards Bakersfield, and you'll notice that in both cases there's a lot of lightning around both of those. We've seen over the years that in situations where a tornado develops or a storm strengthens suddenly, there's a burst of lightning strikes with it. And so it kind of gives us hints of what may be going on. So let me put this back into current mode. And yeah, you can see right there 2 debris signatures. One of them just near or northeast of Bakersfield. That's moving northeast directly towards South Fork. And then eventually up there at the 63 and there's that 14 junction there west of West Plains, and then another one potentially just east what is that, east of Whitechurch there, moving northeast, and that eventually if it continues to hold together would move into the southern portion of Shannon County, headed kind of toward the Eminence area.
Yeah, we have a pretty strong couplet on 142 between Bakersfield and Moody this afternoon. It's only going to be about a mile or so to the east of Bakersfield on 142, but it is headed off to the northeast. And if you live in South Fork or you've got F Highway, I need folks on F Highway to be in their tornado shelters immediately. Egypt Grove, if you live south of Egypt Grove, it's just a little kind of bump in the road there. OO Highway, I think it's going to be down in that area as well. I need folks on the OO Highway to be moving into your tornado shelter. F Highway to be moving into your tornado shelter. I need folks on E Highway to be in standby to see whether or not this couplet that we're looking at here on 142, right in here, you can see very strong coupling. Of course, Brandon was showing you the debris cloud, and the debris cloud was just to the left of all of this, which kind of makes sense because this is where the spin is coming in, and then you've got lift, and so that lift is going to be here on the backside as the storm moves very quickly off to the north and to the east. So again, this thing has been, we followed it from down in here, up in here, and we draw the line. It's making a beeline towards the South Fork area. So again, if the students have come out of shelter, I need for you to go back into shelter because we have another storm that's moving over the same area. And I need all the folks up in this area to be in your tornado shelter. And again, this is going to be pretty much in the same track that the tornado on the 14th took. So folks, very close to that track. Even if you didn't have damage last time, this thing is going to be very close to that same track. So I need for everybody in that area, and probably a mile or a mile and a half either side of that last track, to be in your tornado shelters, because again, we have some pretty strong rotation moving up through that same portion of Howell County, and I did follow a lot of that track up in this area, so that's how I know that it is headed to that area that was struck earlier in the month. So again, a very strong rotation down here just to the east of Bakersfield. Brendan?
Yeah, and you know, we're still waiting to see. I've asked Weather Service if they're seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but those 2 storms that potentially either have had or are producing a tornado, the one near Bakersfield headed northeast, and it's remarkable how sometimes these storms can follow similar tracks, but in less than a month. And then the one, yep, they just reissued that tornado warning, so apparently they are seeing the same thing, Ron. So the one that's up here right along, what highway is that? I believe that's 17. Yeah, Highway 17, where W meets that.
Yeah, that's going to
move northeast.
Peace Valley.
Yeah, there you go. And that's moving into the Chapel area shortly. Let me put a track on this so that
I have winds. I'm looking at the wind velocities in that area, Brandon. I'm picking up winds to 64 miles per hour.
Okay.
Also, I have 2 other spots where we're at least 53 53 to 55, but that whole corridor just to the west of 17 has winds well over 50 miles per hour that are moving in that direction. And again, there's that old couplet that you were just talking about. It's not particularly strong, which is why I think we're going to see a lot of wind damage there. But again, if that storm produces a lot of high winds and damage, it can pull that debris up into that cloud as well. And that's not to say that it didn't produce a tornado earlier and now has become a wind producer. So you may find debris falling out of the cloud as it gets carried along in these very high winds today. So not a good idea to go out and try to see these things. So there are potentially rain wrap this afternoon, but you don't want to get hit with debris that you didn't know that was come flying in your direction either. So again, a good idea just to use the time wisely and get to shelter this afternoon.
Yeah, you know, the storm that we're talking about near Peace Valley, here's the thing, folks, tornado warning or not, think of it this way. Wind gusts of 70 to 80 miles an hour are the same strength as an EF0 tornado. So a lot of times we think, oh, it's not a tornado, not a big deal. Well, in the case of straight line winds, the damage path can actually be wider, and it's something you really got to pay attention to. So I've put a track on this storm from roughly the point where we're seeing that potential circulation slash maybe some debris, but moving to the northeast, and you can see some of the places in here. 304.5 now. So Chapel, you're going to be in line just in the next couple of minutes at 308. We go to Montier at 316, Birch Tree at 321. So that gives you roughly 15 minutes, maybe just a touch more, as the storm moves northeast and up into Shannon County. So for those of you watching from Shannon County, that warning does include the Birch Tree area. Looks like 321 there, and then over toward the Crescent School. And they've actually got the warning all the way kind of following the shape of the county as the storm moves northeast. And then we've got the other storm down to the southwest. And let me move the map here and put a track on that. So this is the one that still has a very tight circulation. You notice that, what we call the couplet, the green flowing toward the radar, red flowing away. Lots of lightning with that storm.
And I have the track on that storm right now. So you can see that this thing is headed directly for South Fork. It's going to be there in about 8 minutes or so. In fact, it's going to be even faster than that because the storm's moving 50 miles per hour, and I could only drag this thing out in frame to about 30 miles per hour. So probably in the next 6 minutes or so, it's going to be up in South Fork. Fairview School is going to be in the path of this thing. It's going to go right up Highway 160. So you're talking about moving into West Plains at 323. So you have less than 20 minutes before this storm will actually get up into the West Plains area. So again, folks, again, I can name off all the highways: AB Highway, E Highway, F Highway. I need for all you guys to be in your tornado shelters out here. All of those highways that junction in to Highway 160. JJ Highway comes off down here. I need for you guys to be in your tornado shelter as well. And then also over here on 17, keep in mind from the movie theater south down towards the Glenwood School, I need for you guys to be in your tornado shelters as well, because that's going to come very close to the Glenwood School this afternoon. That's going to be in the path of this thing too, and then that's going to take it right through the heart of downtown, right on into the east side of town, up by the Civic Center, and right by MSU West Plains. So I need all the students there to also be in your tornado shelter this afternoon as well. Brendan?
Let me take this back here for you. I'm going to zoom it out and show you a loop that is, let's see. Yeah, it's only 30 minutes long. So, you know, normally we'd say, hey, this is the last hour and a half, whatever it is. We've got kind of a messy look to this. So in other words, we don't have these individual supercells that are really easy to see, some giant hook. We've had some cases where it increases a bit to that point, and you watch the loop and you can actually detect just a couple little hooks in there, and those are the places where we've had the circulation and the potential debris. Now, one thing I want to point out, and I'm going to see if I can't slow this down just a little bit so that, I know it's already on its slowest speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it manually, and we're going to go back just a few frames here, and if you'll watch, I don't know if it's going to do it, you'll see the lightning strikes increase right around that hook. And so what we have happening there is a very strong updraft, okay? So the updraft area is where the tornado will typically be, and you can see some intense lightning. There's likely some hail on the north side of that. So Ron was talking about South Fork. That's that hail core very likely just on the north side of 160, and will probably at least
and I have the
clip
hail core
those
up.
planes. You do? Okay, yeah, let's look at that.
Show that for Brandon. You can see there's actually a couple of different hail cores, but Brandon's right. Here's that hail, probably at least quarter to golf ball size hail. And again, that's going to be out a little bit west of the Pottersville area, but that's going to take it up 63 pretty close to Pomona. And then you can see south of Mountain View, a little hail core. And then here's another one coming back in towards the Tecumseh area, or just south of Tecumseh in southeastern Ozark County. So Brandon, I'm going to let you continue your discussion.
Well, we just got a report here, and we've told you how serious we're looking at that storm that's moving up towards South Fork. Spotter says there is a funnel there. It's kind of wrapped in rain, which makes sense based on the radar. So the red and the purple doesn't always mean hail. It means that there's more energy that's being reflected off of whatever the radar beam is hitting. So the more energy comes back, the more we know we're hitting, and we have ways of seeing hail versus rain. But the point here is that the lightning continues to increase. So this storm is still getting stronger, and we have a confirmed report of a funnel, and we have the potential of debris. So with heavy rain likely wrapping around that, it makes it all the more dangerous. I know the tendency for all of us, especially guys, is like, we want to see it. We want to go outside and go, where is it at? Don't take that chance. We've had some areas with a confirmed tornado today. There's a lot of shear with this. The lightning is exploding. It's getting stronger. The couplet's there. The funnel's there. This thing could be on the ground at any point as it moves toward the West Plains area. So please take shelter. Now, as we've, go ahead, Ron. You got something?
Well, I'm going to do a little bit of geeky meteorology here, Brandon, but I think what's happening is I think these two storms are working in tandem. Okay. So what's happening is this. So we know we have a circulation with this storm, right? So that it rotates counterclockwise like this. So this is a rear inflow notch. So what's happening is the air comes up here, out, and down the back, and is coming this way. So this air is going this way out of the north. This storm is also rotating counterclockwise like this. And what's happening is this air is coming in from the southeast, and this air is coming in from the northwest. And what that's doing is it's creating what we call a lot of horizontal vorticity, or a lot of horizontal rotation. So kind of think of it as a barrel. So the barrel is rolling this way, right? So it's rolling counterclockwise. So the top is going this way and the bottom on the ground is going this way. And so this air is rolling like this. And what's happening is this storm's coming in, it has such strong lift right there that it's taking this rolling tube of air and it's lifting it up into the thunderstorm. And so that's how tornadoes form. And so what's happening is this thunderstorm is actually feeding off of the trailing winds of this thunderstorm. And so that's why this thing has been able to maintain its strength, even though it's so close to the previous storm. You often hear about us talking about how, you know, the storms can interact and kill each other off. Well, in this case, they're actually enhancing that kind of flow. So this thunderstorm is taking this air and converting it into the tornado, which is why this thing is maintaining its strength as it's coming up Highway 160 this afternoon. So I think that's what we're looking at, and I think that's why that second storm, Brandon, is actually maintaining its strength and actually giving us such a strong couplet. And you'll notice that we still have that very strong couplet right here on Highway 160 that's getting ready to come into, if not already, into the South Fork area. So yes, hopefully, you know, we won't get the funnel down to the ground, we won't have a tornado, but with such strong rotation, we can't take that chance. We have to tell people to go to safety.
Yeah, in fact, I've got the debris signature here, and it certainly does appear that there is some debris with that storm. It exactly matches up with the couplet on the winds. Okay, there you go. You saw the green, the red, that means rotation this way. We've got all that lightning. We've got the inflow, as Ron was pointing out, and we've got at least the hint of a debris. Now, it is not really tight. A lot of the times when a tornado occurs and lofts debris, we'll see something much smaller, just really concentrated. But this storm has had a rotation for quite some time, and as the updraft has continued to strengthen and the circulation tighten up, think of it as, you know, and I don't want to use the term sucking debris up, but we think of it that way, right? It lifts and then spreads out in the upper part of the storm. By the time the radar beam hits out here, we're several thousand feet above the ground, and so what we're seeing here is a strong indication that there is either a tornado occurring or it is imminent. So if you're not looking at shelter and you're just watching us, please go to shelter, open us up on the KY3 weather app, and stream us as we continue to cover this for you.
Okay, so it just took a little bit of a jog to the right, not very much, maybe a quarter mile, maybe even less than that, but it did take a jog just a little bit to the right. So it looks like the main part of the funnel is going to be along and just to the south of Highway 160. Now, with that being said, folks up here, JJ Highway, I need our weather watcher, Leroy. I know you're probably headed off to the church for shelter. That's where they have the basement. Good idea. Lake Arrowhead is up in here as well, and this thing is actually headed towards Lake Arrowhead subdivision. So folks in Lake Arrowhead, I need for you guys to be taking shelter from this storm as well. So it is going to be moving up there along JJ Highway. You've got I think County Road 8880 that actually goes from JJ over to 17. I need for you guys to all be in your tornado shelters up there as well. The Glenwood School, this thing is going to be very close to you as well. From there on over to 160, this whole corridor right in here coming up into the south side of West Plains is going to be the target area. So again, from EE Highway, which is coming out here, it looks like it's just if you live on EE, stay in your tornado shelter for another couple of minutes as this thing races off to the north and east. But this thing is going to be about a half a mile or so along EE Highway off of 160, and then from there it's going to continue off to the north and to the east up towards the Lake Arrowhead, the JJ Highway area. AB Highway shoots off of this way. So again, I need all of those folks up in there to make sure that you are in your tornado shelter this afternoon, because that's the track that couplet is following. Brandon?
We've got some a report of kind of a tail going up and down near South Fork, and this is according to spotters in that region via the emergency management of Howell County over there at Mike. And he said, according to the spotters, it's not reaching the ground quite yet. So it's kind of bouncing around. It wants to, it doesn't, but it certainly has strong rotation on radar, and that is going to be moving very close to the West Plains area. Yeah. I would expect that they'll extend that warning through the city here real shortly.
I think they will. Did you just see the report from Howell County Emergency Management? They said golf ball to tennis ball size hail at South Fork in Howell County. So again, that's tracking right along with that couplet as well. Some very, very big hail in the South Fork area right now. So again, move to the interior sections of your house. If you don't have a storm shelter, make sure you grab pillows and blankets, get your phone charged up. If you have your TV on, you still have power, turn the sound up so that you can hear Brandon and I give you instructions as we follow the track of this tornadic warm storm this afternoon. And of course, make sure you have your tornado safety kit handy, and make sure you have shoes on. I got a really nice text message the other day from some folks in Howell County who heard me talk about that last time, and it saved them. Their house did have damage, but the kids had shoes on and they did not get cut by debris. So again, make sure that you are properly dressed this afternoon with these storms. And Shannon County, it looks like it's kind of taking it on the chin right there around the Montier area too, as that storm moves, that northeast one moves out of Howell County there, Brandon.
We're going to keep watching these storms. Real quick, I'm going to throw it over to Paul Adler, who's got, we're starting to get some viewer pictures. And by the way, you can snap a photo and submit that to us using the KY3 weather app. You scroll all the way to the bottom when you open that app, and there'll be a spot there. Please don't run out in the storm to get a picture of big hail or anything like that. Wait till it passes. You can send us a picture, and Paul's got a couple of those.
Yeah, and I want to talk to you about these, Brandon. This is, we have two from Mountain Home, and this is from our viewer, Tom Hill, wondering what he is seeing here. And it looks like an ominous cloud that's kind of dropping behind that house, and then you have another transparent funnel right there. So if you could take a look at that, tell me what you think about that picture right there, or Ron, either one of you could jump in. And
yeah, it's hard to see with the house in the way, but there's certainly a wall cloud there and something extending down from the wall cloud. In fact, there may be a couple of appendages, or maybe a bigger one behind the garage there and another one between the two houses.
And then there's another one here. This is also from Mountain Home, and this picture looks ominous too. Obviously, somebody looking out their back door across their pool there into the mountains. Very dark clouds, and you see these parts dipping down out of the clouds. What do you see there, Ron?
You know, there's a lot of scud cloud there, Paul. You know, there's obviously a lowered base. There's probably some really high winds with that, and going to be some torrential rain. I don't see anything that's too ominous in that picture, although it is an SLC. It is a scary looking cloud for sure.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. So I want to go back over, you guys mentioned the app. If you have weather pictures that come in, definitely submit them through the app. It asks you if you took the picture, and then if we have permission to use it on the air. You go down to the bottom of the app. You can always get the app, and it's good to have in case the power goes out. I've been watching power outages too, and I'm not seeing a ton of power outages here. Let me pull up some of this information
out of power,
here.
we know that.
Yeah, we've got about 3,300 in Missouri, with the largest number of power outages right now in Texas County, about 860 there. In Arkansas, you got about 10,500, most of them out of our viewing area. Got about 139 in Marion County there. And then if you look at the co-ops, North Arkansas Electric Co-op, current number is 237. So we don't have a large number of power outages at this point, but we are definitely keeping an eye on that, making sure we keep you safe. If you are in the path of these storms, you do want to have some emergency items on hand. You want to have your first aid kit, medicine, food, and water. Don't forget about your pets. If you have time, grab the food and water for them too. Other supplies, chargers and batteries, make sure that phone is charged up. And have important documents. If you have time to grab those, of course, that is third on the list for a reason. Ron?
Yeah, so this thing actually just kind of tightened up a little bit, so we may be looking at a new touchdown. The very strong winds in here, there's about 90-mile-per-hour winds going on in this couplet right now, and this thing is headed right up into Lake Arrowhead right now, and again, it's going to be very close to the Glenwood School here on 17, and you can see how it's tightened up, and so this thing may be producing another tornado, so we may see an enhancement of the debris cloud. I'll let Brandon kind of watch that thing, but this thing is going right up here, right between 17 and 160, and that is going to come up towards the 1763 junction in the southeast side of town. So again, areas that are going to be to the west, you see, look at how that really tightened up, Brandon. That thing is just really strong in there right now. So anybody on 17 all the way up towards the Glass Sword Theater, you get over here by the old Marathon plant, you get on the other side of the road, and that's going to take it up probably just to the east of the cemetery by the Catholic Church. I need everybody around the Catholic Church to be in your tornado shelter. This thing is moving in your direction there. The brewery is up in there as well. You've got a Dollar General up in there, so I need all you guys to be in your tornado shelter. This thing is actually going to be moving pretty close to the Marathon, and then that's going to take it up right where behind this thing. Let me kind of see if I can slide this thing around just a little bit. Hang on. This thing is going to take it right up to about here. So somewhere right in here around the Catholic Church seems to be where this couplet is headed, right up in here. So again, this is 63, this is Business 63 coming in just east of the Civic Center. So all of that area up by the Civic Center, you've got the ball fields up there, you've got ZZ Highway that goes off over here, and you've got another county road that goes out to Howe Valley up in here. I need for all of you people there, and there's actually a trailer park right in here where the railroad crossing comes in. I need for all you guys to be in your tornado shelters this afternoon, because this is exactly where that tornado, or where that couplet is going to be going. Now there is a ridge right in here that parallels. It's kind of right along the highway, so it's just a little higher ground by about 100 feet or so, maybe a little bit higher than that. But anybody who lives on that ridge, I need for you guys to just be in your tornado shelters, because again, because you're higher up, you're going to encounter higher winds as this couplet comes right into that area as well. So again, I need everybody on the side of that ridge to be in your tornado shelter, to be away from the windows as this thing is coming right up into that southeast part of West Plains right now, Brandon.
Yeah, we've got I've got the track on this because we have a new tornado warning, as we expected, that extends the one that was in effect up to about West Plains. Now we've got one that goes through West Plains all the way to the northeast, up there into portions of Oregon and southwestern Shannon County. So now we've got 3 different tornado warnings that have overlapped with the track of a couple of storms. So the spot that we have right now is, as Ron said, very close to the south side of West Plains, moving northeast, and we've got a lot of schools listed here. So our computer system, when we draw a track for the storm, it'll of course put communities, but it'll also put points of interest such as schools. So right now it is essentially at Glenwood and Greenwood schools, but you've got Howell Valley in there, Oak Grove, Elk Creek, Bennett Chapel, and then Fanchon, Lost Pond School, and you see how the list is kind of shrinking there, but that is moving northeast, I believe 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour. And so Ron was just mentioning all the spots that you need to be in shelter. And the other thing is, these continue to produce some big hail. We had up to tennis ball size hail that was down around South Fork as the storm pulled away from there, and it still shows signs of having that kind of intensity to it, Ron. So got to take it seriously in a number of ways. The tornado is the biggest concern right now, or the potential tornado, but then the wind, all the lightning, you just want to be in your shelter.
Yeah, Brandon, you were just mentioning schools. It looks like the high school is going to be very close to this as well. So I need the high school and the middle school to be in the tornado shelters that's coming your way. Also, if you're on the square in City Hall, I need the square down towards the Civic Center. I need all of that area to be in your tornado shelter now. If you live north of the school, up towards where it junctions into 160, I need for you guys to be in your tornado shelter up there as well. So it looks like it's going to be moving in there. The data here is having trouble refreshing itself because of the internet today, but I think we're going to see this couplet pretty close to Highway 63 when this data refreshes itself in just a minute or so. So it looks like it's taking a little bit of a jog to the east, Brandon.
Yeah, I've whoops,
yeah,
sorry about that.
It's also kind of a little wide spread out a little bit, so hopefully this thing is kind of weakened a little bit, but this is actually going to be out to where ZZ comes in and not too far from Fiddlesticks Flea Market that got hit in the last time. There's an electric company here. You've got the Dairy Queen up in here. You've got the OBC, the pizza place. That is going to be in the path of this thing as well. So it looks like it took, and that's good news that it actually just maybe jogged to the east and is going to maybe bypass downtown West Plains, but very heavy rain, possibly some hail and stuff over some of those areas that we just listed up towards the high school. So again, great news there. Maybe this thing is just kind of skirting around the southeast side of town.
Yeah, here's what it looks like on the hail, and there's probably, and what I've noticed today is that the scale up here is way under as far as what's being reported. So what it shows there would indicate maybe nickel size hail. Well, the storm was producing tennis ball size hail, a little bit different there. Also need to tell you that according to social media post here from the West Plains school system, they're saying that everybody, including teachers and students, are going to remain in shelter for now. So parents who are wondering about your kids, they're taking shelter as they need to, so don't run to the school right now trying to pick them up. When this system passes, then they'll release the kids. But right now, the school essentially in lockdown mode, being safe with the storm.
Yeah, and that's a good idea too, because we don't want to put anybody in jeopardy needlessly, and certainly we don't want anybody to be on a bus. Again, it looks like that couplet continues to weaken and tighten as it's crossing 63 right now. So if you can block traffic in West Plains, keep people from going there to Brandsville, or keep people from Brandsville coming up into the storm for just a few minutes or so, that would be an absolutely fantastic idea to keep people who may not be monitoring the weather, driving along in their car listening to maybe satellite radio. Certainly. Also, folks that are going to be west of Rover, this is going to take this thing out. ZZ Highway, probably far out on the east side of ZZ Highway. I'm trying to find some county roads in here. County Road, looks like 9790 is going to be in the path of this thing. 800899 is going to be in the path of this as well. So yeah, there's going to be some county roads out there off of ZZ Highway that I need for you guys to be in your tornado shelter, because it's moving off, kind of taking a jog off to the east, northeast. Call is going to be in that area. 9910 is going to be in that area. So again, folks over there in the northeast part of Howe County before it junctions into Oregon County are going to want to be in your tornado shelter, and probably just to the west or northwest of Rover on 160, you're going to have to watch out there. And then to the west and southwest of Thomasville is also going to have to watch out as that storm moves in that direction too, Brandon.
Yeah, and we've continued to watch this thing move northeast at, 50, 55 miles an hour. So far, we haven't had any specific damage reports other than to know that some power has been knocked out at various places, including Caulfield. We've had up to tennis ball size hail. That was at South Fork, and that storm continues to move to the northeast. And there's no obvious debris signature, but there still is a pretty good rotation. And so in order for you to stay safe, and most of you that have been listening to us for any length of time, as far as the warnings go, probably in your tornado shelter now. You need to be, if you're not. I'm going to throw it over there to Danielle Davis and let her talk about where you need to go in case you're forgetting that in the heat of the moment.
Hey, yeah, you know, if you're in the tornado warning, most interior room of your house, but maybe you find yourself about to hit the road. Maybe you're driving right now, know someone who's driving right now. You need to be aware. This is kind of what you need to do. It's going to be super important, one, that you have the KY3 weather app and you have those alerts for your location turned on, but also obviously those weather emergency alerts. You can disable that on your phone. Of course, when severe weather is about to happen, that's definitely not a good idea. Make sure those are enabled on your phone. Now, stay informed. It's always great to let someone know when you are traveling, where you expect to travel, and how long you think it might take you to get there. Make sure if you are on the road, let someone know where you're at right now and where you are going. And of course, if you are in this tornado warning and you are in your vehicle, you don't want to be in a vehicle, so you want to get off the road. You want to seek shelter in a sturdy building immediately. Maybe that might be a gas station for you, but it's something that you need to do because a car is not a great place to be when a tornado is moving through your area. Ron?
Yeah, so they just reported quarter-size hail at the middle school, which is going to be right next to the high school. So again, good call there with the hail coming up into the downtown area. And there is on this storm, it's kind of gone through a little bit of a cycle, but you can kind of see there is a little bit of a hook right here where we have been watching that couplet, and that is going to be just to the north of the Brandsville area now. So this thing has made a decidedly easterly kind of turn, but there is a hook, and so there's likely to be some sort of a couplet right in this area, right in here. Now, Rover is right over here, and this thing is not going to be all that far from Rover. So folks on MM Highway, or M Highway over there going up into Rover, I need for you guys to be in your tornado shelter. And then from Rover up to 160, and then from that junction on over to the county line, I need for all of you guys to be in your tornado shelter. You can see that coming right up in there, just to the northwest of Rover right now. And that's going to come back over Highway 160 East, probably right here on the Howe County, Oregon County line. And then that's going to take it just to the west of Thomasville, which is located right up in here. So folks west of Thomasville, I need for you guys to be in your tornado shelter from there to the north of Highway 160 in northwestern Oregon County, and that'll continue taking it off to the north and to the east and eventually into Shannon County, pretty close to the Mountain View Liberty School that's over there in the southern part of the county, and that's going to be just to the south of Birch Tree. So again, that storm is going to be headed up in that direction right in there, clipping northwestern Oregon County and then going into southwestern Shannon County just to the south of Birch Tree. So again, and I'm sure that we've still got have that couplet. You can still see that couplet right here is kind of weakened a little bit, but again, that's moving right here where 160 crosses Howland, Oregon County. So that's where that tornado is very close to that vicinity. I would kind of widen out this area, but folks, a couple of miles either side of that, I need for all of you guys to be in your tornado shelters right now. And you can see how the National Weather Service is following that tornado warning and kind of clipping things off as that couplet moves across that area. So again, if you live west of Thomasville, north of Highway 160, I need for you guys to be in your shelter, and anybody here along the Oregon County, Howe County line, again, I need for all of you guys to be in your tornado shelter. And you can see there's that couplet, and it looks like it's kind of rotating back in towards the storm just a little bit. So this thing is kind of spinning around like this and kind of doing loops.
Yeah,
is what it appears to be doing.
You know, you and I seem to have an affection for Howe County. Found my wife there, have some family down there, and getting some text that's saying, look, this thing's going over almost the same path as the March 14th storm did. And indeed, it has taken a similar path. There have been reports of power outages, some trees down. The Brandsville Fire Department seeing some rotation, but nothing on the ground. So there is no tornado that we know of, but there is so much rain and some hail falling out of this that what can happen is the main circulation and a tornado, if there is one, can become rapid rain. So all you see is this big dark mass that looks like, hey, it's about to start raining real hard, and there could be a tornado in it. So don't take the chance of that. Now, the main part of this, including the circulation, is now northeast of West Plains. So that's certainly good news. You've still got some rain and some lightning and maybe just a little bit of hail being lofted out of that storm, but chances are that's being blown northward as opposed to back to the west. But this is just about to cross there into Oregon County, just to the north of Rover, as Ron was saying. So watching to see if any of the reports, they're still saying up to 2-inch diameter hail. For comparison, a golf ball is 1 3/4. So it'd be a little bit bigger than golf ball, real close to ping pong ball, perhaps. Small difference, but still can do some damage, especially when there's a lot of it. The other thing I want to just mention real quick, I mentioned the Brandsville Department. We have so many volunteer firefighters and storm spotters that are out there watching these storms for you. We can see a lot of things on radar, but we don't really know what's happening unless there are people underneath looking at it, forwarding those reports, and allowing us to pass that information on to you. So hats off to all of those people and the emergency managers and the law enforcement and all that helps us. It's a team effort to do this coverage and to keep you safe.
So when Danielle was on earlier today, Brandon, she was talking about Western Grove, where that first tornado went through. We're actually getting some pictures of a roof blown off a mobile home. And so there has been some wind damage up there and some debris in the Western Grove area this afternoon. And as you were talking about that storm, it's going to be over Cull, and I have a storm track on here for you. It is moving off to the northeast again at about 50 miles per hour. So it is going to take it pretty close to the Birch Tree area at about 358. I think folks over here in Winona need to pay attention to what's happening with the storm, because it may pass between you and Birch Tree, and then that's going to take it up to the southeast of Eminence in southeastern sections of Shannon County. So again, a very strong thunderstorm. It looks like it's continuing to cycle a little bit. There's also going to be some really strong winds. Looks like it's in the Rover area right now, so don't be surprised if you have some power outages in Rover. But it looks like this spin is going to be just to your north, and this is all going to be straight line winds coming out of the west with that flanking line moving up to the north and to the east this afternoon. So again, we're continuing to follow that tornado warned storm as it moves on up in northwestern Oregon County and eventually on up towards the Shannon County area this afternoon. And still a pretty good couplet, or at least there was a couplet there just a few minutes ago as we take a look at the velocity. And you can see that's right there where Brandon was talking about, right here in Cole, right there where 160 crosses the county line. So it's still pretty much in that vicinity now. It may have moved a little bit to west of Thomasville by now, but it is racing off to the northeast at around 50 miles per hour. So again, still a circulation with that storm. And again, it's kind of wobbling. It's kind of causing the whole storm to wobble. So I would give it a pretty wide track to take shelter in here in northwestern Oregon County, just because it's really far from the radar, so we're hitting this really high up in the storm, and it's not giving us a good indication of what's going on at the surface. We know there's good mid-level rotation, but we don't know what's happening down on the ground, and that's why we need the spotters that Brandon was just talking about. So we want to thank them. But again, because of the wobble that's happening with this thing is going off to the east and then back to the north and west, and then to the east and then to the northwest. So it's not making a real straight line this afternoon, and that's what's making it difficult to give exact points for taking shelter on with this system. So again, we're going to just continue to follow that storm as it moves up towards the southern Shannon County. Brendan?
Ron, would you agree that West Plains proper is in the clear as far as the tornado threat?
Yeah, it looks like it's moved off to the north and to the east, so we can allow those folks. However, keep in mind, I think there is still another, it's still raining in West Plains.
Sure.
So you're going to get some moderate to heavy rain, and it looks like there's probably another storm or something off to the south and west.
There's a bunch, yeah.
So you're still going to get some rain, and you'll still need to be weather aware this afternoon in case any of these other storms start to produce tornadoes. So we'll watch that one that's east of Mountain Home. That thing's got a really nice flanking line to it. I'll bet there's really strong winds headed south down towards Buford and out to the southeast side of the Mountain Home area. That's
yes.
Yeah, that thing's got some really strong winds with it as well. So again, we'll have to watch to see if that thing spins up any kind of a tornado as it heads up towards the Vidette area. So
let me show you.
Forecasters are watching it
Real quick, let me show you the winds in that storm, because I think you may be right, just around the Briarcliff area, and then if you'll look there, just southeast of Mountain Home. The data disappears. You know what? Somebody's going to get tarred and feathered over that. But we do have at least some circulation there, and wind coming across. So that's going to be going across Norfolk Lake, and some high wind and at least some rotation there on the backside of the storm. And by the way, all of that is going to be headed right up into Howell County. So there is a break, but you're not done with the storms yet. This whole line has slowed to a crawl as the front still isn't through yet, Ron.
Yeah, that one that you're talking about there is probably going to make it over closer to Landon. Yeah, go ahead and take the Mountain Home camera, and this is one of the traffic. What's said again? Club Boulevard, and you can see just the heavy pounding rain there in West Plains at the present time. Very dark, very low-hanging clouds. And look at the flag out here too. That flag is really whipping around, so there is some really strong winds there in the Mountain Home area. It'd be nice to know which direction we're looking so we can tell you which way that wind is blowing, but my guess is it's out of the north and west or west, and so probably getting some really strong winds in that area. Wouldn't be surprised again to see a little power outage activity there as well because of those high winds.
We have a kind of now, I guess, some breaking news about the tornado from this morning that Brandon and I were covering. The Vernon County tornado with a rating an EF1 tornado from this morning with peak winds at 98 miles an hour, kind of beginning around Moundville and continuing up towards west-northwest Walker in Vernon County.
Wow.
They got that done fast.
I was going to say that could be the fastest I've ever seen them do a survey. I think they know they're going to have a busy several days. Real quick, Paul Eardley had a picture pulled up, and a reminder, we never want you to go out in a storm and in an active warning and take pictures and put yourself at peril, but we would love for you to take pictures after the fact or as a storm is coming to you. And we've got one here that, I'd be a little chickened out about, Paul.
Yeah, this one caught my eye, and I thought I'd draw your attention to it. Brandon, Danielle, and Ron. This is from Lacey Archer. One of our viewers sent this to us, and this is from the West Plains area. You say West Plains mostly in the clear now?
Yeah, the tornado warning is off to the northeast now.
Off to the northeast, but this looks to me like something to pay attention to.
Sure.
At least as not a meteorologist, somebody who might be out there in West Plains. If I saw that and there was a warning, I would not be in the path of that. I'd be taking shelter. What do you see here?
From what I'm looking at there, number one, it's very difficult when there's not video to tell if there's rotation. The two things you want to know when you see something like that hanging down or appearing to hang down is, number one, is it rotating? And two, do you see any debris? Those are the two giveaways as to whether or not it's anything to worry about. If it's just kind of sitting there, chances are it's one of those scud clouds, as we call it. If you've been to one of our weather tours over the last couple of years, we've showed you some different pictures. My first guess is that would probably qualify as that, but hard to tell without
maybe a shelf cloud too, Brandon.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just be really, really close to the shelf cloud, and you can kind of see how it's kind of sheared off in the one area and then goes flat. So air is coming in on the left side of your screen, going up into the right there. And then what's happening is below that, all the air is coming out and streaming out towards the camera. And so it may be creating some sort of a shelf cloud. And again, the trick with a shelf cloud is when the edge of that cloud moves overhead, you're going to get hit with a blast of wind. And so you'll want to move inside before that. You know, I have the correlation coefficient of the debris cloud signature on that storm in northwestern Oregon County, and there may be some debris at least continuing to move along with that storm. And as Brandon said, they've kind of slowed down to a crawl. At least our eastern motion has crawled down to a crawl. So again, either some debris left in there or at least some hail, and that's going to be very close to the Thomasville area and Thomasville West. So again, if you're in the Thomasville area, I need for you guys to remain in your tornado shelter right now as this thing continues to track off to the north and to the east, and that should take it across the Shannon County line somewhere south of Winona, at least on the present track. But again, this thing is kind of wobbling along a little bit this afternoon, so give it kind of a wide swath in here to take shelter in. I think that's probably prudent with the way this thing seems to be making a sort of a looping action this afternoon.
It looks like, so there is a sliver of a tornado warning in eastern Howell County, northeast of West Plains. That's going to expire here in about a minute. The other ones for Howell County that we've been talking about for, well, a while, those have been allowed to expire. So again, all those places we've been talking about, Brandsville up to West Plains and down through South Fork, for now, there is no danger of a tornado. You're still getting some light rain, and it's important to note that, whoops, zoom back the other way. Look what's coming at you from the south. So this is a loop here. I'm going to play this, and it goes back 2 hours, and you can see the progression of all these various storms. And you see how we've just got this line that's, I mean, the individual storms are moving northeast between 50, 60 miles an hour, but the line as a whole is moving more like 20 to 30. So the one thing about this that I'm just starting to think about, if you recall, today was the first of 3 first alert weather days, and the other 2 are related to heavy rain. So as this storm system slows down, eventually we're going to see the storms move completely out, but a lot of moisture. These things could drop an inch or 2 of rain in some spots, and there's a whole lot more that's going to be coming, particularly Friday and Saturday. And we want you to be prepared for flooding, because it could be a very big deal once we get into especially Friday night and Saturday, and probably into Sunday as well, Ron. So I know that's not an immediate threat, but that is something that we're really concerned about as we head toward Friday, Saturday.
You know, stay on that view, and kind of, I'm going to let me step off frame so I don't like magically pop onto that view. But go ahead and take that view full frame if you can, please, from the directors. There we go. So what's happening is here is all of these thunderstorms, as Brandon's been showing you, have been moving up the line. We call that training. And so that's what's going to happen on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, is we're going to have this huge mass of thunderstorms that are just going to train across the area. This is mostly going to happen at night. We're going to see really heavy rains. If they come at night, they're going to be super heavy. But that's why we're talking about these really high rainfall amounts. And what these thunderstorms here are doing, they're not producing a tremendous amount of rain, but what they are starting to do is they're starting to moisten up this dry ground. So we'll have rain today, we'll have more rain tomorrow, and I think the ground is going to be able to withstand all of this moisture. I don't think we have to worry about any flooding. But once we get into Friday, the ground is going to become saturated from 2 days worth of rain, and that's when we're going to start to see rain start flowing into the rivers and creeks and them starting to come up and then starting to create a flood situation overnight Friday into Saturday morning. And so again, we're going to see the same kind of motions with these storms the next couple of days that we're seeing right now. This thunderstorm that we still have the tornado warning out for now is kind of closing up a little bit, and it has weakened. And one thing that, if you noticed with Brandon, it had a lot of lightning earlier when it was down in Howell County, but it's not producing quite as much lightning now, which tells me that the updrafts are starting to weaken on this thing and not become as organized. So my guess is that this is probably, unless something happens and it becomes a little more organized, they may just allow this to be a severe thunderstorm warning as it moves up into Shannon County. And you'll notice that they've allowed the tornado warning to expire for eastern Shannon County. We're just maybe looking at strong winds with that storm that's going to be exiting over the Current River right there. And then, of course, we're watching the rest of this stuff. The storm that's around the Tecumseh area now, going up 181 towards Dora, that is non-severe but producing plenty of rain. There may be some flooding. That's what the green outline is indicating. So already maybe starting to get a pretty saturated ground there. And of course, we're going to watch that stuff that's down in Baxter County and then eventually into Fulton County as well. So again, we still have a threat this afternoon, but it looks like things are easing up maybe for the time being just a little bit as that lightning is coming down within that storm. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe we can put this thing away for just a little while and maybe bring you the news at 4 o'clock. So that's kind of a verbal cue for our 4 p.m. producer and the folks to maybe start getting, ready for the news here in just a little bit. All right, Paul?
And we do have some news right now, Ron. We have that power outage. You've been talking about these areas in the eastern part of our viewing area. Texas County has about 500 people out, and you go down here to Howell County, about 550 out. Over here in Shannon County, more than 400 out, and across the state of Missouri, about 4,300 people without power right now. Those storms going through that area, so that's what you expect. As the storms go through, you see the power outages surge in numbers. In Arkansas, most of our counties in our viewing area here, Marion County, 60 out. You got Boone County, there's a couple out. Baxter County crosses over 100 now. So the majority of the outages in our viewing area are on the Missouri side of the border, where you've been talking about, West Plains and Salem and some of those areas and those counties seeing the power outages. Ron?
Yeah, we're not getting many damage reports right now either, other than the power outages. We're starting to catch up on some hail reports that have been coming in with some of these thunderstorms and some high winds. Right now, we haven't had any large areas of damage that have been reported, with the exception of the Western Grove had a roof ripped off a mobile home, and of course the tornado this morning up in Vernon County, so that F1 tornado up there. So again, let's hope that these thunderstorms don't continue to produce tornadoes this afternoon. They are very strong. They're going to produce lots of lightning, could produce wind and some hail, but it looks like the hail threat may even be weakening just a little bit. Now, for folks that are traveling, if you're going to be going east on Highway 60 this afternoon through Winona over towards, say, the Poplar Bluff area, Elsinore, the weather is expected to get really rough in the Boot Heel of Missouri. So, be weather aware if you're traveling over into southeast Missouri this afternoon, or if you're going to be taking Highway 63 from West Plains down towards Jonesboro, they're going to continue to have some pretty rough weather as well. So if you're going east on either of those two roads, you're not going to be out of the woods. You may get out of the rain for a while, but eventually this line of thunderstorms is going to catch up with you as well this afternoon. So again, we're just going to watch this. Now, the thing about this rain, let me kind of widen out just a little bit so you can kind of see the whole area. What's going to happen is that this line of thunderstorms that you see right here is going to continue moving east, and it should be outside of the viewing area sometime probably shortly after 6 by the time we get these thunderstorms that are down around Marshall, kind of east of the Sharp County area. So we still have a few more hours where we're going to get rain and thunderstorms and could have potential for some severe weather this afternoon. But it looks like this whole thing will move east, and then tonight will be quiet across the area and we won't have any rain. So if you've had some damage that you need to clean clean up or get some tree limbs cut, you'll be able to do that this evening and tomorrow morning for just a little bit. Because by noon tomorrow, what's going to happen is down here, a whole bunch of rain between Little Rock and Fort Smith is going to begin forming, and then that is quickly going to move back into southwest Missouri by lunchtime tomorrow. And tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening looks pretty wet across the area. Now, it doesn't look severe. If there is any severe weather, it'll be these far counties down here to be Newton, Searcy, Stone County, Arkansas. I think the rest of the area is probably okay. But that's when we're going to start getting more rain, and then we're going to get more rain after that, and then more rain after that. And it's probably not going to let up until sometime maybe early on Sunday morning before this whole pattern starts shifting and moving on to the east. All right, so I just kind of wanted to give you just a brief heads up on the forecast. All right, Brandon's been watching the radar with some additional information, so I'm going to toss it over to him right now.
Yeah, well, we're talking about the heavy rain. So this is the radar estimate so far. Okay, this is round one, and it's not as widespread as what will come on the north side of the front. It's we call it overrunning, and you can have thunderstorms that develop and go over the same area for hours. And I want to show you here from about Jasper through southeastern Boone County, just near southeast of Harrison. Watch when I put a couple of plots on here. Now, this is an estimate, but radar does a pretty good job nowadays. Look at that, almost 2.5 there near Jasper. Southeast of Harrison, you've had over 3 according to the radar. Up there southeast of Gainesville, you've had almost 3. And just north of West Plains, you've had 2.7. I mean, we're telling you, folks, this is priming the ground. You could triple that amount of rain between now and the end of the week. So when we talk about the fact that there's a flood watch that runs all the way through Saturday night, and we tell you that there's a bunch of water coming, we want you to be prepared, okay? So you've got later today and then into the early part of tomorrow to move things away from low water spots. If you're a farmer rancher, you've got equipment down in a floodplain or cattle or whatever it may be, get it out of there, because we're going to have some big rises on even the major rivers, and then eventually multiple feet of water likely flowing into at least the White River lakes. So it looks like, Ron, that we have one tiny portion of a tornado warning left in Oregon County, and otherwise it's still a potential for a few hours for more severe weather. Yeah,
and they're actually letting that expire, Brandon.
Oh, are they? Okay, good.
Yeah, they came away with that message while you were talking, so you didn't see that. At any rate, so they're going to go ahead and allow this to expire. They're not going to carry that thing forward anymore, and then you'll notice that we still have some severe thunderstorm warnings out there. So we still have some pretty strong thunderstorms this afternoon that are capable of producing large hail, damaging winds. There still is a tornado threat. Keep in mind the tornado watch goes until at least 4, but I'm sure they're going to extend that over into southeast Missouri if they haven't done that already. And then we're also watching for the rainfall to really total up. But again, I think this first round of rain will end this evening, and then we'll have some quiet weather for about 12 hours or so before more rain moves in tomorrow afternoon. So we want to thank you for sticking with us this afternoon and watching KY3 weather. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to the news, and of course Danielle and I will continue staying here through the evening or as long as need be to keep you updated from these severe thunderstorms this afternoon. Again, keep your KY3 First Alert weather app handy, and if you have any damage, make sure that you send us some pictures on that. So once again, thank you, and now we turn it over to Lee Moody and the 4 p.m. news.